Hey, Austin, thanks for joining us. Wait a minute. Just went. Hold on. Repeat. You there?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Austin, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Omar. Super honored to be here.
All right, buddy. I am excited to have you on the show. How are you feeling today?
Feeling fantastic. Love it.
All right. This is I'm pressing record right now, folks. Austin just went on a riff. He'll probably go on it again, and I am very excited to have him on the show. Well, we've become BFFs as of recently. He is one of my brothers in M1, March to a Million, led by Rock Thomas, and this is part of the shift that I was telling you guys about. We're going to be deep diving and going into stories from people that not necessarily in the recovery space, but have battled with drugs and alcohol, battled with adversity, have struggled in their lives. And Austin's one of them. So I'm honored to have him on the show. So real quickly, folks, Austin Linney. Austin lives in San Antonio, Texas. He is a real estate investor with 3 properties and 5 Airbnbs. He is, from what some people say, an Airbnb hacker. So I'm going to ask him a little bit about that as soon as I'm done with his intro. Austin is part owner of Kaizen Accommodations, an executive short-term rental company with properties across the U.S. Austin's current day job is restaurant manager for The Pearl, one of the biggest developments in Texas. Austin has been in the service industry for 19 years. Hospitality is something he truly was born to do. Serving and helping people is a calling that fills his heart with great joy. Austin is married to the love of his life for 10 years. She is truly the only person that can harness the power of Austin Linney. Wait a minute. Is it she or is it he?
She
Right. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah.
My game has no power on her.
Ah.
She's literally could care less.
I love
my stick, my thing, the stuff that oozes out of me.
Yes.
It doesn't work on her.
Has no effect.
No effect. She goes, just tell me when we're gonna retire. Yeah.
Yes. This is the beauty, and this is another reason why Austin and I are so connected. He also writes there, she is not impressed.
Not impressed.
Okay. This is where the commonality is. My wife is exactly the same, right? Like, I am used to bringing it, right? I show up, I do my I am statements, I get into state, I say yes, I get cranked up, I get people pumped up. My wife is not impressed.
No, I show up after showing up, and she still doesn't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So it's good. You need that. Look, me and you are the same people. Yes. So you need that in your life, because if you had somebody who was pumping you up all the time, you couldn't even be able to be around people.
I wouldn't even be able to stand myself.
Yeah, exactly. True.
However, she is my biggest supporter.
100%.
So I'm okay. So
100%.
She is. There you go.
The only reason I am where I am today is because of her. It's not even a question. Left to my own devices, I'd be sleeping in closets, buying multiple houses. I'm sleeping in my car, Airbnb in the car, just seriously.
All right. Well, I want to hear all about that. But first, what I want to do is I want to dial into on, who is Austin, what he does. And the first question is, what does your normal daily routine look like?
So I'm a huge people connector. So I try to schedule 2 to 3 calls at least to connect with somebody new in real estate, business, just kind of rocking and rolling around there. I generally wake up 5:30, 5 in the morning, trying to get in a routine of meditating every day. I do that for about 15 minutes. Then I get ready and go to the gym for 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And then it's merely a blur. after that, because I do more in one day than probably most people do in a week. I'm not stating that as a good thing. I'm trying to get more efficient with my time. I'm just saying that that's something I'm working on.
Is it like the Army, or is it the Army? What's the ad? We do more before. I think it's the Marines. I can't remember which one of the forces it is, but we do more before 9 a.m. than most people do the entire day. Is that the Marines, the Army? Which one is that?
I'm not sure. But that being said, since I got an M1, the Miracle Morning stuff has really been amazing. And mine's not like everybody else's, for sure. I haven't got myself to journal yet, but I do enjoy that time in the morning to kind of, I don't know, like, you know me, and I'm rolling, Mach 30. And sometimes it's just nice to shut the old noodle off, and that's kind of my time in the morning with no text messages, no phone calls. I didn't say but I am trying to not do any business before 7. But that being that. But that
before 7. Okay, fair enough. Go ahead.
But that being said, Airbnb is a 24/7 business, so it's a tricky, and that's another problem with my regular day job too. I'm never on a set schedule, so if I had it my way, I'd go to bed every night at 6:30 and wake up at 4:30 in the morning if I had it my way.
Okay, and why don't you have it your way?
Because sometimes I have to work till 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes the Airbnb guests will text you at 1 a.m. And you try to be there. But I'm in the process of. We have a property manager in the company, so unless the building's on fire, I probably should be okay. But that being said, I'm also a control freak too. So this is things that you're working on constantly, trying to remove yourself from your business, but still keep a pulse on it.
There's definitely the conversation of, or the idea, the philosophy of working on your business, not in your business. It's the struggle for all entrepreneurs. It's that control factor that nobody can do it better than I can, or in my case, nobody wants to do the shit that I don't want to do anyway. So, how am I going to delegate things that I don't even like to do to somebody else? But that's just limited mindset. The important thing to remember is that the goal is to be working on my business, not in my business, because the stress is me inside it. And you've got so many things going on, getting in the morning, starting your day, and the meditation is key. Because you say here you shut off the phone, no phones, no texts, no nothing.
I try. I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm working on it. But it's funny. It's funny that you say that, and I'll give you your first little nugget. And I haven't even told you this. In June, we almost shut down the Airbnb business.
Really?
Because my business was running me. I wasn't running my business.
Beautiful.
Seriously, I was 2 days away from shutting it down, and we decided not to. And since then, I've added 2 more across the country. But I have a team now, and so I'm not like I was cleaning them too, with 2 full-time jobs, cleaning 3 of them, and I traveled 3 days out of the month for my one job too. So I was doing all this. So
okay, I'm going to hold on to this. Almost shut down in June. I want to get back to that. All right. So other than the meditation, one of my favorite questions is, how do you maintain your spiritual condition? Do you have a spiritual practice?
Not really. The meditation for me, and me, is probably one of the greater limiting beliefs I've ever had. There was not a chance on any planet that I would ever do that. So for me to do that, I had a bad day Friday, any way you want to look at it, good or not. But I didn't feel good again until I meditated the next morning.
That's powerful.
And then I wrote down everything. It's super interesting.
Okay, so you journaled.
Yep. For the first time after one of the more traumatic, just kind of life altering news I got, and we'll talk about that.
Yep. We're gonna get into that.
And you know, it's interesting how I was the victim all Friday. Just, you know, give me another cocktail because, you know, I'm a bit, you know, you hurt me and all this crap. And, you know, sure, my wife's like, listen, you little, you know, pussy.
Absolutely.
She's like, I'm more mad at your father than I am that you feel bad about it. Like, how dare he get in your kitchen and even make you feel this way? And it wasn't until the next morning when I really meditated and said in my thoughts that I viewed this as a gift, not a problem.
One of the things I love to say, it's the first time I heard it, I'm going to be using this for the rest of my life. Life doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. It's an opportunity. Every obstacle, every challenge, every time you've been beat down, every time you've been taken down, it's an opportunity to get back up and learn, get back up and recalibrate and take in the learnings, because it all comes with these amazing opportunities for learning and growth once we get out of the victim suit.
Had to.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the thing, before we go into that, here's the thing that I want to touch on the most, as far as one step leads to the next step, that step leads to another step. A lot of times when I think about what a spiritual practice is, when I think about what a routine is, when I think about what meditation is, I have this idea that's so much larger than what it is. Until I actually take action and do that first step. Meditation can be 5 minutes. It could be 3 minutes. The Miracle Morning says, do each one of the activities 1 minute. You're not going to get shit out of a minute, but what you are going to get is an opportunity to start. And as soon as you start and you give yourself permission to connect with those different elements, all of a sudden your brain goes, well, we could probably go a little bit further. We could probably do 2 minutes. Well, you know, we just started writing. Well, we barely got any fucking writing done. Let's just write a little bit more, okay? And all of a sudden what happens is it just creates space. That's all it does. The intention is what's important. Okay, tomorrow morning, I'm going to do 6 minutes of these activities, 1 minute each. Or I'm just going to meditate for 5 minutes. I used to do that with me at the gym. All right, fuck it. I'm just going to go I don't want to go to the gym. I hate the gym. I'm going to go for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to leave. I have never, because that's the gaff. That's the gaff. Mm-hmm. I fucking manipulate myself, and I go, we're only going for 15 minutes and we're leaving. I've never left after 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Ever. So you get this thing going. Now, here's the thing. You said, I don't journal. I haven't journaled. I want to start journaling. You journaled on Friday. The stepping stone was, I meditated first. Mm-hmm. I started a practice. My day was fucking chaos. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't come off this negative emotion until the next day when I did my meditation. It's called a pattern interrupt. Mm-hmm. I broke the pattern the next morning when I meditated. All of a sudden, I allowed new information to surface. Boom. Next step, journaling. What I want to hone in on is one step leads to a second step, all focused on the same thing. How do I connect more internally with what my internal dialogue and intuition is trying to tell me? That's really what this is all about. That's spirituality, man. That is being spiritual. What you just described is that, a spiritual practice.
Well, then it looks
congratulations. Yup. Congratulations. I didn't even know I was doing it. All right. So cool. Listen. So this show is primarily talking about addictions, right? And so addiction can be a driving force for some of us. It may propel some of us towards things like drugs, alcohol, food, money, success, even our phones. Has there ever been a time when addiction has played a role in your life?
So you're not going to show this to my mom, right?
No.
I'm just kidding. So look, because I love you, and I want your audience to get value out of it. I don't speak about this that often. Probably never, actually. You know, in the restaurant business, you know, the cocaine and the crystal meth and the Xanax and just all of it really is rampant. I mean, it's just part of what you do. You work some more. And you know, it started with you know, 18, 19, started with cocaine. You know, mainly just the weekends, nothing crazy. The problem is I have a massively addictive personality. If I find a song that I like, I will listen to the song 17 times in one day. Like, I'll just play it over and over again. Like, seriously, until I can't take it anymore. And then that graduated into the meth. And, you know, it was controllable for a time. And then there was a part, I remember it, like, now that I'm talking, I literally can bring it up like it's yesterday. I must have worked 140 hours in 1 week. I didn't sleep for 7 days. I probably lost like 25, 30 pounds. And an ex-girlfriend, actually the girl that I dated before my wife, she said, you look like shit. She said, your jeans are falling off of you. You look terrible. And you're not, the whole time this is going on, you're not looking in a mirror. Because then if you actually saw yourself, the shame, the blame, the whatever. So literally after this happened, I told my roommate, who I was living with at the time, who was one of the biggest drug dealers in Southeast Texas. I said, listen, I'm gone. I said, I'm fucking leaving. So hilarious, but I packed up all my shit and moved to Austin. And it didn't get better. The drinking kind of took over. And you know, there was a lot of missteps in there, but I tell you what, I didn't do the drugs anymore. I just switched to alcohol. And then I got in a big car wreck, and then my buddy had to come get me and then bring me back down to Beaumont. Actually, I've never really told anybody this story.
Bring it on, brother. It's flowing.
So I went back home like nothing had happened. Almost was going to be in jail for quite a while. I'll actually tell the story because it's the craziest thing ever. I drove home one night after drinking way too much. And this was North Austin, downtown Austin. I wound up, this is the craziest thing ever. I wound up in a neighborhood and ran my car into somebody's yard and mowed their mailbox down, right? I jumped out of the car. The guy comes out of the house, and I threw him. What the hell was I thinking? I threw him my ID and just took off running.
Accountability.
I've never told anybody this story. So some guy picked me up, saw me, robbed me of $300, robbed me, threw me out of the car. I woke up the next day thinking it was a dream because I had to go to work, and realized that my car was not in the driveway, the parking lot, and called the police to see where my car was. And they said, you know, the car's been involved in an accident in somebody's yard. And I literally got my shift covered that morning and went to work that afternoon because I needed to work, and got called into the police station and basically told them I fell asleep at the wheel, and got nervous and ran away, and wound up getting out of it, but had to pay like $6,000, $5,000 to for like leaving the scene of an accident, all this stuff like that. And so then like 2 days later, my buddy came and got me. I moved in with my mom, still didn't give a shit, treated it like a hotel. She kicked me out of the house. I had a bag of clothes. You got to understand, my dad's a doctor. My mom has a good job at the time. So it's not like, you know, but they cut me off. They completely cut me off. My mom told me to this day, it's the hardest thing she ever had to do. So I slept. This is no bullshit. This is for real. I cried for like 3 hours. Victim mentality. And my friend said, listen, you can stay at my brother's house. We have nowhere for you to live. So I slept underneath the stairs in a closet about as big as a single bed for 4 months. I've never told anybody this story. So for
this
4
is
months.
Phenomenal. You couldn't make this shit up.
So for 4 months, and then my buddy said, I can get you a job. So every morning at 5 a.m., my ex-girlfriend's dad came and picked me up, and I laid brick and tile every day for 10 hours. I lived off $40 a month in food, slept underneath the stairs in a closet for 4 months, ate ramen noodles and ham sandwiches, saved up enough money to buy my grandma's old Ford Explorer, and got my bartending job back. And I will never, ever go back there again.
Dude.
I haven't. I totally forgot about that stuff.
Unbelievable.
And that's the source.
There's so much in there.
That's the source of a lot of my drive, is that closet. Now that I'm saying it, I've never even put a finger on it. Because I don't share
it's
that.
more than that.
Yeah, I don't share that story that much.
It's not, it's yes, because this is a rock bottom moment.
Official.
Okay.
Official
rock bottom. I'm living in a fucking closet.
No. Let's paint the picture. My dad is a doctor, and I lived in a $1.5 million house across the street from Kevin Garnett on a golf course. And then a year later, living with your parents cut you off. And do you know that in the moment I was a victim, but as I look back, it's the single greatest thing that ever happened to me?
Here, listeners, please listen to this. This is the power of real love. This is real love. Not just when his parents did this, they weren't just loving him, they were loving themselves. It was a mutual exchange of love, recognizing that through adversity and struggle comes success, comes power, comes strength, comes courage, comes real change. Austin was a spoiled brat. How old were you?
I think I was 21.
21 years old, living on a fucking golf course, rich, spoiled brat. Would have ended up like Robert Downey Jr. probably in
100%.
less than zero.
Yeah.
That's where you were going. The most loving thing that they could do was say, we got to cut him off. We have got to cut him off before he hurts himself. And the only way we can do this is, the best thing to do is just kill the funds, right? I'm living in a closet for 4 months. I'm crying my eyes out for 3 hours. What is that? That's a 21-year-old, 6-year-old throwing a tantrum because mommy won't pick up my bill.
Not that I wasn't working, but just the lifestyle was gone. And
absolutely.
And the thing is, it's like when you're, and that's what people don't understand. When you're starting to spiral and you're not surrounded by the right group of people, they're just going to feed that spiral. Dude, let's go drink, bro. Fuck trying to get a job. And you know what the craziest thing is? This is going to blow you away. The happiest I ever was laying tile, eating that ham sandwich.
Buddy, that's true freedom. Austin.
Yep.
That's when you think about that moment in time. When you think about that moment in time,
freedom.
It was absolute freedom, because here's the thing. You had room and board taken care of. It was a closet, but I wasn't paying rent, right? So it created a sense of certainty. At least I have this room. I don't have to worry about that. The food I'm eating, right? Whatever. I don't have a lot of money, but I have enough money to eat my ramen noodles, and I'm doing something productive. Laying that brick is the idea of building something is what we all aspire to do. Whether it's a business, whether it's a family, we're all building something. This is just literally, I'm building something with my hands that gives me purpose, that gives me a sense of identity and accomplishment. And my life is very simple. We lose sight of the most simplest moments. We've all had those. We all had these moments where I go, I remember that time in my life where everything just made sense. It was just simple, and I just remember being at peace, right?
Yep.
And that's what that is. But, just to not gloss over it, folks, as you're listening, I want to applaud Austin's mother and father for having that tough love, that they knew this is what we have to do, or we're going to ruin him. He's going to end up dead in jail, or, overdosed on meth or something. We got to do something drastic. We've got to let him know that we're not behind this behavior. And the problem is, for many of the people listening, they're struggling with this idea of, how do I deal with my son or my daughter who is continuing to abuse, who is continuing to use, steal money, come home, take advantage, fuel up, then go back out on a run, fuel up, go back out on a run, giving them money, giving them support. And until they hit that rock bottom where they're like, I'm not going to support you and you killing yourself anymore, is the most loving thing that you can do for them and for you. It sets very strong boundaries, and it sends a message to them that you're no longer going to participate in allowing them to destroy themselves. Make sense?
And the thing is my actions at the time, not malice, not torturous, not criminal. We're still aggressively not okay to act like a human being, regardless of. And it's not like I'm a bad, like I was a mean son, but like I was just treating it like a hotel. And you're gonna go work. Well, I'm working, so it's whatever. Like, just let it slide. And it's funny, and just because I want to bring value to people now that stuff's like coming up in my head. I remember the low point for me. I don't remember what birthday it was, but I do remember Christmas Day, sitting at my desk. Oh my God, I can envision it like it was. I can literally step into it right now. Sitting at my desk in my apartment on Port Arthur Avenue. I swear I even know I've lived like 30 different places since then. Doing drugs, watching basketball, too fucked up to go even see my family at Christmas. And then lying and saying that, whatever. And it's funny, the stories you tell yourself when you're in that moment. And I'm different. I just quit cold turkey. And I'm not saying that everybody can do that, but it's funny, the smell of it now, if I smell it, it makes me want to throw up.
Oh, I get that. I totally understand that. I understand that. So this rock bottom, or this low point for you, right, on Christmas, was this before they kicked you out? After they kicked you out? When was this in the timeline?
Before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't true rock bottom. There's a rock bottom moment in my head, but the true rock bottom was them kicking me out. I mean, and then you spend the first 4 hours whining like anybody gives a shit. And then you start putting, okay, what are we going to do to get back to where we need to go? And so it's funny. It's funny. I feel like I'm in a therapy session right now. It's funny because now I'm looking back and I'm realizing how much that single moment has played in my entire life.
Which one?
The not wanting to be back in that closet.
Okay.
And the push for the houses and the real estate and the, we're gonna go is the fear, I guess, to ever going back there again.
This is oh, man, I can't tell you how many times this is where the big aha moment comes in, a big epiphany comes in for a lot of my coaching clients when we realize that this drive, because I deal with so many type A, super hyper, overachievers, right? And it's like, you think you're running towards something. The truth is you're running from something. And the
100%.
truth is here, I'm never going to be living in that closet ever again. And if I am not working 7 days a week, banking money, running multiple businesses, continue to bankroll more money, stockpiling money, keeping myself successful, right? The day I let off the gas could be the day it drags me right back into the closet. Yes or no?
100%. I'm just like, I want to get out of this interview right now. I'm like, my mind is like blown right now. I'm serious. Like it's so funny because I've totally like blocked that time out.
Yeah.
But what I've been doing is going to make you really happy. What I've been doing in my meditations is I've been going back to my childhood.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And stuff.
That's where all the answers are.
Yeah, and stuff that I've put down or try not to worry about. And for me, a lot of the stuff for me is, I mean, God, just airing my dirty laundry. I think that there's probably a 3-year span, maybe longer, where I drink every day. And I'm not talking about getting drunk. But like I get off of work, I'm trying to put alcohol in my system because I don't want the thoughts to creep in, right? But what's interesting is on the outside, you're conquering businesses, you're buying properties, and you're just kind of going, and then really like, and I can't wait to get into it. Friday for me was the second big aha moment, and kind of the everything really. I mean, and so the freedom aspect of your mind is really what I think people are looking for.
Well, let's dive into that one next after this epiphany though. But here's the thing. 3 years of me coming home with this, I have this routine of coming home every day with the drinking, correct? During the day, I'm crushing it, correct?
Yep.
Right. So here is a lot of, I'm so excited I changed the format because it gives me an opportunity to coach. So for those of you listening, right, this is some coaching. So the reality is the brain, the body, and the mind work together always. They're trying to find the most efficient way of running the machine. They're also trying to find a way to create balance, which is something that Austin doesn't believe in, right? Well, we'll get into that later. But the thing is, the mind, body, spirit, and the idea of meditating is what creates or starts to create more harmony and balance in our lives. And when I didn't have meditation in my life and I didn't have a stop button, the brain goes, we have one trick up our sleeves. If we can get him to drink, he'll slow the fuck down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So here's the deal. We'll go full throttle during the day, but you have to slow down at night. Oh, but I don't know if I could slow down and take it easy because I don't want the thoughts to come in my head. We'll just introduce some alcohol into the mix. Does that make any sense?
No. But it's what happened.
That's exactly what happened. The thing is, if I can't, you've heard the term self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Self-care, some people think of self-care as going to the spa and getting a massage and jacuzzi and all this, extra shit. No, self-care is a healthy diet, rest, real sleep, okay? Taking care of ourselves and allocating time for me to get enough water, enough food, and enough rest. That's self-care. And if I cannot find a way to do that consciously, my body will figure out a way to do it unconsciously.
And so for 4 years, 5 years, I took NyQuil every night too.
Case closed. And there you have it. I will stop guys, Austin's, for those of you not, because I'll have this posted on YouTube, but for those of you who are just listening to the podcast, Austin's like this fucking rhinoceros. He's just this beast, okay? Like, if you see him coming, most of the time you're just going to step the fuck out of the way because he's always got his head down and moving forward. And so there's really no one's going to get in your way, not even you.
Not even me.
The body has to find a way.
You had to like shoot me with the tranquilizer, you know.
Perfect example. There it is. The body's genius, guys. If you don't recognize that, it will find a way to self-care. It's called soothing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to soothe myself for something. All right, so listen. I've got all these questions. We're not even going to go there because here's the thing. We've gotten so much value from what we've just talked about here, especially since so many of my listeners have some sort of addiction, right? In many cases, it's drugs and alcohol. But I
want to say something because I don't want to move off this point because I said it to you before we got on. I was a person with businesses working 80 hours a week that didn't have a problem, and now we're telling all those stories. And I'm looking at it going, I think you as a person need to examine a little bit farther, you know, maybe you're doing it here and there, but what did I tell you when we first got on the call? I didn't have a problem.
Yeah.
But now I'm listening to those stories and I'm going, it's a big fucking problem.
Dude, it was just a rite of passage. I mean, that's just the kind of shit we did it was just college times. You know, as I was looking at the questions, it's like I was just thinking, doesn't everybody do this? No. I didn't live in a closet laying bricks, motherfucker. I also didn't live on a golf course and my daddy wasn't a doctor. Let's just keep rolling.
Yes.
I got a lot of mo.
Yes, this is great. I love it.
All right, so listen, the aha moment, because there's so many of them. But let's talk about the aha moment on Friday. And before you get to that aha moment, let's talk about what led up to it. Let's talk about the relationship with you and your dad.
So probably since 17 years old, my parents got divorced. I was not a good student. I was very smart, but didn't give a shit about school. And there was a lot of talk about sending me to boarding school and all that stuff. And so finally, my mom, my parents were the perfect couple. You know, my dad's a doctor. We lived in a nice neighborhood the whole night. Middle of my junior year, my mom said, I think it's best that we move Austin to Fannett, Texas, and we get him over there, get him around some different sets of people, and so we moved there. Me and my mom. My brother stays with my dad. 6 months into it, all of a sudden my parents say, all right, we're getting a divorce. And I'm like, getting a divorce? Like you don't even fight. Like what the hell are we talking about here? And so what happened, and this is credit to Mark Crandall, I'll say it on every podcast I'm ever on any planet. Great, one of the greatest human beings ever met. He said, there was something that happened in your mind where you associated your parents divorcing with you being a bad kid and having to move to Fannett, and you broke up the family. So that's what I created in my head. And then there are so many stories on top of that. There's a moment that happened, and then the drama and the bullshit that was created on top of it for the next 20 years has fucked up every relationship, has made me not be the best husband I wanted to be, has made me be not the best business owner, has not been the best employee, not been the best son, brother, because of this story, this victim story that I told myself. And my, I still can't believe it happened. My father called me out of the blue. We didn't speak for 6 years. We rarely speak, once or twice a year. He calls me out of the blue. We didn't even talk during Christmas or New Year's. So, I didn't know what he wanted to talk about, and proceeded to tell me that my mother had an affair, and it wasn't me. And this effing story that I let run my life, that people out there, everybody, these stories they tell themselves of a singular moment is bullshit. I was living my life on a false narrative, and it really pisses me off that I allowed that to happen. And that's the way I felt Friday. I'm gonna drink. What the fuck? Nothing makes sense anymore. And I'm drinking, having happy hour with my wife, and she doesn't want to fucking hear it. She's like, you're allowing it to affect you. And she goes, really, nothing changed. And then I'm getting upset with her, and then I'm the victim, and all this shit. And after talking to you and talking to Mark and kind of meditating, I realized that it was a gift. I was strong enough to take the heat for that long. But the good news is it's not my cross to bear anymore. It's time to lay down the swords, and let go of that victim mentality, and give back to others. And really realize that this life that you're leading out there, this thing that you're doing, everybody is so goddamn focused on their own shit. And it's like, if you just give back your time, your effort, your knowledge, your shoulder, it's amazing how much that stuff will come back to you. And then, in my early 20s, I just lived in this woe is me, oh, I'm the reason my parents got divorced, and this is my fuel, and this is my fire. And to I'm not gonna lie to you. I texted Mark with that victim mentality, and he was like, can you imagine what other bullshit you've been telling yourself? The same thing you would have said.
I didn't get to you fast enough.
No. It's been an interesting couple days, and I'm glad you're catching me today, because I posted in our group, and you read it, and I think a lot of people are walking around, and they're acting like next week, next year, it's promised. It's not. And you spend your whole life, 20 years. It's not small time. It's a long fucking time. 20 years harping on this, playing this fiddle of this bullshit. And I just want everybody to wake the fuck up and hire whoever the hell you need to hire, or talk to whoever you need to talk to, and just start living your life. Stop being held down by these things that happen to you. I mean, shit, one of the things that hit me the hardest was the reason that I never thought I could seek therapy or tell my story, is because I came from an affluent family, and I wasn't abused and all this shit. And, I didn't have a place, right? Like, who's going to give a shit about this rich dude from Houston? And, my friend made me realize your problems are no different than anybody else's.
Here's the cool thing now, because in the last, and this is the power of your circle of influence, the power of how quickly you can continue to change the narrative, continue to change the story as you share it. Because left to my own devices, the story I create could have chapter after chapter after chapter, and it's just going to take me further and further down this proverbial rabbit hole of anger and resentment and bitterness and disdain, ultimately living to apathy and depression and sadness. This is where people take their lives. It's listening to this story and allowing that story to develop more chapters, volume 1, volume 2. So here's the thing. The first story is, for 20 years, what I've been holding on to is, it's my fault that my parents got a divorce. That's story 1. Then I get this message from my dad, and if I hadn't shared about it in my mastermind group, if I hadn't sent it to Mark Crandall is also a good friend of mine, one of my new BFFs. Much love to Mark. And myself, then the next story that I could have held on to for another 20 years is, I can't believe it. All these years I've been holding on to this. It was her fault. Now I've got a whole new story. Now I am a victim. And I have a whole new story of dysfunction, a lower vibrational emotion that I can hold on to for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years until I share it with somebody else and somebody else shuts light on it and goes, brother, is this another story you want to start telling yourself? You've been telling yourself enough stories. You want to start telling yourself a new one.
You know what's funny? Never on any planet, and maybe this is some stuff I still need to work through now that I'm saying it out loud. No anger went towards her. And I still haven't even talked to her yet. Because I put her up on such a pedestal. And I got mad at him still. Because it's easy. Because I know that. I know this game. We've been playing this game for 20 years. And when I sent that text to him, you saw my other follow-up text, right?
I didn't, because we were doing this interview.
So I said, how dare you rob me of these 20 years? And, how dare you, I've been successful without you, blah, 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 blah. And then Omar was like, yeah, that's victim shit still. And
Me
so
or Mark?
No, you and Mark, I think both said, whoa. Like, you called me right away. You're like, no.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. I picked up the phone when I got it, and I said, no, stop.
And he said, he sent back, he said, I don't feel like I have robbed you of 20 years. My intentions was trying to protect you and everyone from this information. We all have difficult lives. We all have choices. And some of these moments changes.
How did that sit with you?
After I talked to you and kind of reframed some stuff, I said, I just want you to know, like, I wasn't trying to hurt you with that text. It was just that built up childhood anger. And the thing is what's interesting is he wrote back, I've been fearful to tell this to you because I knew how in the past you would react and you would downward spiral for like a year or two. But I could tell by the words you were saying that you were okay with it.
Wow. Life does not happen to us. It happens for us. And in many cases, when we're ready to deal with trauma, when we're ready to overcome traumatic events in our lives, the opportunity to do so manifests.
I'll credit another person in our group, Ian Lobos. He asked me, he said, Austin, how many podcasts, and it's interesting I'm saying this on a podcast, but how many podcasts, how many books, how many stuff do you read? I said, all day, every day, 24/7. Got to keep stuff in the ears. And he goes, I want you to not.
Ooh.
And then that's the scariest thing for me ever. So
Silence.
you can see it in my eyes.
Yeah.
So I've been working out at the gym without anything in my head, without stuff. And he texts me and he said, look, you see, when you were open and you're ready to be able to take this on because you cleared space, the universe gave you what you've been after for 20 years. If this would have happened to me 6 months ago, I wouldn't be okay.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. This is where my number 2 question.
Bender, 100%.
Dude, my number 2 question is all about this moment right here. If I am not connected spiritually, and what people have, please do not confuse religion with spirituality ever when I'm speaking about it. Do not confuse and mix dogma with what my intention is when I speak about spirituality, folks. When I talk about spirituality, is that internal guiding force within us that when we tap into it, the answers are there. And when we're ready to let go of things, the opportunity will present itself for me to actually do that work, which is to let it go. And as you were talking, all I kept thinking about is, what if, and then you said it right at the end, and I'm thinking to myself, what if his dad, your dad, knowing you
3 months ago.
Well.
3 months ago.
No, but knowing you so well, we're talking 20 years ago, bro. We're talking 20 years ago when he decided it's not going to be me. I'm not going to tell him what his mother did because I know how much he loves his mother. I know how much he puts her on a pedestal. This will crush him.
You know, it's funny. Now that you're saying that never even crossed my mind.
This is going to crush him. I'd rather eat that because that's what a parent does.
You know what? Now that you're saying that, God damn you. Listen, you're gonna make me cry.
Bring it on. I'm almost crying here, dude.
So listen.
I'm about to lose it.
Now that you're saying that, I'm even more reinforced with the gifts that he gave me.
Yes. Unconditional love. It doesn't matter how much I fuck up my life. The last thing I want to do is fuck up my kid's life. I'll eat whatever pile of dog shit I need to eat.
And he sat there and took the brunt of the bullshit for 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is what happens when you suffer in silence, bro. That true connection and being vulnerable and being able to have these conversations. Guys, if you're listening to this, know that Austin talked to countless numbers of people when the shit hit the fan. He did not fucking jump into a bottle. He did not hide in the fucking staircase. Okay? He didn't go and recoil in the fetal position. It's like, if I don't reach out for help, the ramifications are going to be massive.
And I want everybody to listen and understand. Me asking for help is the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And the thing is I put that post out on our group, but it was more like, now that you're saying, it's more like it was a cry for help.
God damn right it was. I told you this right from the beginning. I go, I hope you realize that when you sent that to Mark and I personally, that was your subconscious knowing something's not right about this. You better send it to those two.
Yeah.
And to the group. Something is not sitting right.
And what's crazy is I reread it right before this interview, and I hate the middle section of that thing. 2 days. 2 days. 2 days. It's amazing. It's amazing.
This is the power of coaching.
Because,
this is the power of connection.
But let's make something very clear. You're gonna have those people, and they're there, and they're gonna say, "Yeah, way to go, yeah, stick it to them," you know. you can't feed into that, because they have their own insecurities as well. Yeah, stick it to them. And now that you're saying it the way you're saying it, you know, there was a man suffering for 20 years. His oldest son just beating him senseless.
Think about the boulders that just fell off. Think about the boulders you've been carrying, and think about the boulders he's been carrying, and the power of real love, unconditional love, caring on a level that raises your vibrational energy to astronomical levels. Because when you come from a place of love and compassion and courage and vulnerability and openness, able to connect on these very deep levels, where for many of us, all we've been dealing with our whole life is these bullshit, superficial conversations about nothing. It's like a fucking episode of Seinfeld. Like, what's the point, right? Until we can get to a point where we're comfortable enough with another human being to be able to open up in such a way, this is where the light starts to shine through us and into us like crazy.
But this is important, and I want everybody that's listening, because I didn't realize this until I did my first podcast as a guest. Stop living your life like this shit's about you. Like, seriously, when I was on the first podcast, I was just telling my story, and 30 minutes after the podcast, it was a live radio thing, a 20-year-old kid called me, and he said, "Hey man, really resonated with your story. I dig everything about it. Would you mind mentoring me a little bit?" And I'm thinking to myself, like, who the hell cares what I have to say, right? Because you like make up this stuff, and you realize, like, who's ever listening to this, if we can help one person change their relationship with their brother, their sister, their mother, their father, with themselves, then that's what it's about. And I'll sit here and tell you all the stories, because it's not about me anymore. It's about where I've been, where I'm going, and who I can be when I get there, and who I can help along the way. And, you know, when I first joined M1, you know, I want to buy every freaking house, right? Why do you think I want to have 1,000 properties, Omar?
So I can feel good.
No, so my dad won't think that I'm a fuck up.
I remember we went over that. Yeah.
So are you putting yourself in financial ruins to prove a point to somebody, and you're waiting for that a boy that ain't coming? Because I was. And now that I am 100% immersed with two gentlemen in my business, and another woman property manager who I love dearly, who complement each other's abilities and skills, and I'm truly living the life that I want to live. The money and you know what I wrote to them yesterday? I said, what a calming feeling when you realize you're going to take over the world. I don't know if that's arrogant, but that's just me being me, because you just know you're home. Like, you know, you found your place. You know, it's a weird thing to say, but you found your people. Yes.
There's the key right there. There's the full circle. You found your people. It's within your feet, the right circle of influence, that you find out who you really are. Because you're able to connect on such a deeper level that when you get insight, you're able to embrace and take it in. And really apply it.
I mean, you probably deal with this in coaching from time to time. You know, I'm helping a gentleman, really dear friend of mine, who's having some problems with his wife. 45 minutes, I let him go on and on about, you know, she doesn't do this, she doesn't do that, blah, 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 blah. Then I said, okay, what role are you playing in this? But what I said first is I said, we could spend the next 6 months with you complaining about her every week, or we could actually get to the root of the problem. And I think everybody wants to complain about the problem more than they want to fix the problem.
God damn. In one question, it all changes. Amazing how that happens, Austin. So what are you going to change in your life to embrace the idea of bringing balance into it? Because it's not about whether it exists or doesn't exist. It's about whether or not I deserve to have true balance and harmony in my life.
I think the biggest thing in kind of what I'm searching through right now is just living for me. Like, I just feel like the last couple of years I've been living for my mother or my father and trying to prove and all that and stuff. And those days are long gone. Like, if we want to move to Europe, we're going to move to Europe. If we want to have a kid, we're going to have a kid. If we don't have a kid, we're going to, whatever. I'm not gonna sit here and try to placate anybody anymore. I'm not gonna deal with anybody's excuses because I've wasted too much time doing it with my own ones. You know, and my mantra, you know, for this year is take action. I'm so sick of everybody sitting on the sidelines. If you want to do a podcast about ducks, then go do the podcast about ducks. Who cares? Stop working in that effing corner office on a job that you can't stand because you put yourself in a position where you have a mortgage you can't afford, a car you can't afford. Me and my wife live in 270 square feet, and I have 3 houses and 5 Airbnbs. Stop with your bullshit. Seriously, can't take it. Mark Crandall says it perfectly. Stop worrying about all this money and all this shit. Create the lifestyle that you want to live. It's not about money. Lifestyle.
Beautiful. And that's the question. So in there is the balance, the lifestyle. How much time do I spend with my family? How much time do I spend with my wife? How much time do I spend with me? When is it okay for me to allocate time specifically for me and not just me to do more work or do more study? When do I have some time for me, for reflection, for meditation, for journaling, for revitalizing, for recharging my batteries? And the thing is, you know, just in the matter of a couple of weeks, what you've managed to uncover about, I am just running from something. And I've been running for the last 20 years. And for the first time in my life, I realized I no longer have to run anymore. And I've been blaming all these things and people and entities and all these horrible things that have happened in my life, you know, and the question you have to ask yourself is, anything you've ever done made your life better?
Because at the end of the day, if I would have just taken a weekend and blamed myself, we wouldn't have had to waste 20 years. And still, until Mark got me to take my own responsibility in the relationship with my father, none of this shit would have came. Because it was always somebody else. And it's a scary thing.
Yeah, and just to remind you how quickly that works, there's this thing called, you know, the drama triangle. I forget how to pronounce it, the Cartman or something like that. It's called the codependent drama triangle, where you're playing one of 3 roles in any relationship. 2 people in a relationship, mother, daughter, father, son, husband, wife, brother, sister, whatever. One is the aggressor, one is the hero, one is the victim. And you're playing one of those 3 roles at all times in the relationship. One switches roles, the other one takes a different role. One is the hero to the victim, then they kind of prop themselves back up, become the aggressor, then the other one becomes a victim, and then we go back and forth. And if we look at the example recently, you know, I am blaming myself for 20 years. So I'm actually being aggressive and also playing a victim for 20 years. But more, it's just beating myself up. I'm just being the aggressor to me for 20 years, holding myself responsible. So I am going to punish myself in every chance I can. I don't deserve to have fucking balance. I don't deserve me time. I don't deserve to feel peaceful and relaxed. Do you know what I did? I have to suffer. And so we get into this suffrage mentality. And the next thing you know, as soon as I get a break from it, oh my God, it's been bullshit. Now I'm going to hold on to this shit. Now I'm just going to play this victim role. I'm going to drag this out until it fucking, you know, ends me up on some street corner high on meth. The point is recognizing what these negative effects have in our lives and how we process this information. Once we recognize, wait a minute, I'm playing the victim role, in an instant, I can change my state, I can change my circumstances, I can make a new decision and create a new belief system that's more empowering. This is the power of awareness, recognition, and the circle of influence. Because if I can't figure it out, they'll help me see it.
Well, that's the number one thing I want to harp on is that's when you surround yourself by people like yourself, Mark, Ian, you can have the cheerleaders, but you need the people that can say like, hey, yo, like we get it. Like, you know, but you need to reframe that and you need to get out of the victim role, because the truth is this is the scary thing. We're at ground zero. I mean, how much other stuff is going to come up in the next months or years of other things that have happened or that I'm ashamed of, or you know. So we're like Mark, you know, I keep harping on him, but he's just like, you know, you're just getting started.
And the only thing I would say as we move into the closing questions is, this is an opportunity for you and your dad to establish an amazing relationship moving forward. Just with this awareness of what he was trying to do in the first place, man. Mm-hmm. Both of you suffering in silence. Now you can heal together.
Yeah. I agree. And on your podcast, we figured that out. So.
Totally. Dude, pretty crazy shit. We almost cried. I felt it coming. I was tearing up right there. When I caught it, I was like, dude, fucking me up.
I was close.
All right. So let's start closing up for the listeners. We've already covered most of this, okay, which is, one of my questions is, what was that pivotal moment in your life when you turned it all around? I'm pretty sure we covered that. Well, we covered a few of those. What made the difference for you? Tell us about an aha moment in your life when you realized you were now moving in the right direction. Is there one in particular of those two questions, that pivotal moment, that aha moment where you turned it all around, that you feel is the most impactful?
No, I mean, yes and no, because I think that you're always shifting, you're always changing. Like, you know, you're going to have these moments, you're going to move and everything. The biggest part that I had to realize that I woke up to at 30 years old was I was working 3 jobs saying, look, I'm successful. Like, look at me, I'm working. And then I had a friend of mine who's the lead singer of a band I worked for. He goes, yeah, you're working 3 jobs, but you're not going anywhere. Are you ready? I remember the day, the highway, the van, the city, everything. El Campo, Texas, 11:30 on a Sunday, in a white van, 15 passengers, coming back to Austin.
Oh, dude, your power of recollection is amazing. Amazing. You're a visual person, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Then in that case, real quickly, because we didn't even talk about this, right? Tell us a little bit about your Airbnb business, and, you know, what is the future for, what do you see your future as? Like, you've got real estate investor, potentially real estate coach, Airbnb hacker. Like,
yeah.
What's the big picture that you see here, and what is it you're currently doing now?
So big picture for me, especially in the group, is one, I'm doing very small little coaching on the side, just, mainly conversating, nothing formal, real estate and life in general. But one of the things I'm very passionate about, and something that I'm gonna tag it as my own, is I really like to help first-time home buyers. It's like my favorite thing in the world, because it took me 7 years, 5 bad deals. We had to walk away. There's another story for another podcast. That was a real good one, though. That one just popped in my head. But the amount of fear associated with 2x4s and sheetrock blow my mind. And the amount of fear that people have associated with buying a house. And what I tell everybody is, well, I don't know if I can buy. I don't know. Well, have you even spoken to a lender? Well, if you haven't spoken to a lender, you're just creating a limiting belief, and you don't even have factual information. So what I tell them is, I said, let me shoulder the fear for you and let you treat it as a business decision. That's all it is. And,
that's coaching, brother.
Yeah. And I think a lot of where I think I'm going to head is the coaching. The Airbnb for me is something I love doing. I love creating a place for somebody, a family, to get together, to maybe see some friends they haven't seen in a long time. Maybe their kids are seeing the ocean for the first time, and just create that home experience. Everybody travels better when they have that kind of, comfort. I'm actually sitting in one of my Airbnbs right now. So, it's something that when we went to Europe for 2 months, it's the way me and my wife traveled. We love hosting. We love creating experiences. I don't think Airbnb is going away. I think that people are only going to do more. One of the things I'm really excited about is the international Airbnbs. For me, that's my dream, is to own a property or rent out a property not in the States. So that's a lot of what we're going to focus on. But we're just going to work. And I think I want people to understand this, and this is something we say all the time. You just have to go forward. If you just go forward and you just keep pressing, and you just keep pressing, you're going to be all right. I'm not saying go crazy and spend a ton of money, but you got to understand, this is what I love about investing in real estate. You don't have to be me. You don't have to have 5 Airbnb across the United States, but maybe you have one rental property that allows you to live rent-free at your house, and allows those 2 extra vacations with your kids, or allows you to quit that job 5 years earlier. But just take the step. And if you don't know where to start, message me. I'll let you know. But what I'm saying is, biggerpockets.com. Just start putting on the podcast, and just this doesn't have to be your life, but it can be a vehicle towards freedom.
Beautiful. I love it. So if that's the case, then how do our listeners reach out to you and get in touch with you?
You can find me on Facebook, Austin Linney, Linney. You can find me on Instagram as well too. And then Kaizen Accommodations. You can find me in there. I run the Instagram account. But just reach out to me. I'm happy. I'm here. I have a web of, as Omar knows, I have a network like a pretty big spray. So I'm sure we can get you done. And the thing is, I'm just here to help. For me, I am not really, I want to do the coaching, but I also want to give it the respect that it deserves and take the proper classes. So, that's something that I'm going to focus on over the next couple of years. But for right now, it's the Airbnbs and the real estate. We're just looking to expand, and everybody asks us, where are you looking? And how many are you looking for? And we just say all of them and everywhere.
And you're wondering why there's no balance. All right. So Austin, give me your 3 most powerful I am statements.
These are new for me, man. This is I am a great husband. I am deserving of the success and the accomplishments that I've done, and I am a good person.
God damn. I love the way that sounds. I love the way you're a great person. I love you, man.
I do. Love you, man. Your smile. It's just, I can't wait to get you to Texas, man. We're going to get you on a horse and we're going to put it with the cowboy hat. We're going to put you on the podcast as this can be your cover photo for the week.
I can't wait. In a cowboy hat. My wife's going to love that. All right. So Austin, what is one parting piece of wisdom you would like to share with our listeners?
I just want people to get out of their own way. I mean, it's the truth. We're all in our own ways. Not your brother, not your father, not your sister, not your mother, you're in your own head. Get out of your own head and give somebody a smile and turn their day around. And you'd be amazed how much that comes back to you. I made a promise to myself 3 months ago that I would provide value at every turn. And I would give my time, my knowledge, and you would be blown away the opportunities that have laid in front of me because of this. Stop chasing the effing fucking dollar and start chasing your purpose and start chasing people. Be kind, smile.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Austin, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Dude, honored. Thank you, sir.
Dude, we fucking killed this.
Yeah. Send me the invoice. Vice versa.
Much love and respect.
Much love. Thank you, brother.
Peace.
See ya.